Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, and we have put the horrors of Iron Banner behind us, and we are back to more story content. I will say that I think Season of the Seraph has done a pretty interesting job of making sure there's at least kind of something happening week to week, so there's not just like 3 weeks of interesting things, then like 5 weeks of dead time, then like 1 week of finale. Last week was kind of dead, but like they are kind of sprinkling in some more interesting things from time to time. Like here, we had another kind of in-person conversation to witness, and then we had a full cutscene this week. Not even one of those like inkblot animated ones, and those are fine, but it takes more money and production value to make the kind of in-game ones, and we had one of those today. And we kind of had some interesting story developments, ones that I wasn't necessarily expecting. The gist of what's going on here is that Marasov believes that she has figured out Xivu Arath's plan, where the entire point of everything we're doing this season is really just set up for a hive ritual based on her internal worm. And the hive gods have these internal worms that like feed on something specific. Savathun's fed on lies and deceits. I don't know what Oryx is fed on exactly, taking things, I'm not sure. But Xivu Arath's worm feeds on war and slaughter and destruction. So the idea is that Xivu Arath doesn't really care who wins the war. So like Xivu Arath wants to get her hands on the Warsat network, and then if she does, she can rain fire on us and cause a lot of destruction that way, similar to how she went and wiped out Tor Bottle. But if we get it and we use it on Xivu Arath's armies in full, it's just going to help her also, because she will just literally use her endless army as a blood sacrifice, and that will make her even stronger. So this creates this kind of weird situation where this newly formed, version of Rasputin we've made has to face down the strange situation where a weapon of mass destruction is not the solution to his problems this time around. And he even goes so far as to question some of his past moves, where he developed Escalation Protocol, which was, back in the Mars Isn't Vaulted days. That was a system where, it was automated with the automated defenses, and then it combined with us as Guardians kind of activating it and clearing out Hive. Xivu Arath, the idea is that maybe Xivu Arath is just sort of playing into that and using that as a constant blood sacrifice to like fuel her power over time. Because, why would you just keep sending the same hive time and time again just to get roasted by a bunch of Guardians and an AI system? Like, this is where like Destiny tends to blend like actual storytelling with like trying to explain away video game logic, because like we do everything on repeat, we kill a million things, but like I guess the point here is that all of the stuff, our dealings with the Wrathborn, possibly all the way back to Escalation Protocol, all of this is kind of everything we do to just slaughter Xivu Arath's forces sort of only serves to make her stronger. So the interim solution that gets come up with here, whereas Mara's like extreme solution was like, okay, shut down this Warmind project, don't keep reactivating the Warmind. And Anna's like, no, we have to, he's sentient and will help us and whatever. The solution is that we are supposed to kind of draw a stalemate. So we are supposed to get control over the Warsat network, but we're not supposed to use the Warsat network to wipe out Xivu Arath's forces. We are just supposed to like hold it and then do what we're currently doing in the real world with weapons of mass destruction, is just not use them, but have them there if we need them or need to blow up the entire world for whatever reason. That seems to be where we're headed here. So like we're not really doing anything different. We're just not going to do some sort of mass launch to just slaughter bazillions of Xivu Arath's forces. We might use the Warsat network later. Rasputin might learn. The week ends with him trying to learn to problem solve, and he's like, all right, well, what can I do if it's not just like blowing up a bunch of hive? Like I got to figure out what else I can do here, because like he's fundamentally a weapon at its core. I think this is kind of an interesting exploration of like Rasputin as a concept, and like what does a sentient weapon of war do when he cannot be wielded as a weapon, because that will just help your enemy. I think that's a pretty interesting dissection of Rasputin, and something I wasn't really expecting to see here. and I don't know where this is headed necessarily. The story actual like quest this week is literally just run a heist battleground, and that's it. So like there's not there's not like a new mission or anything, and then you're once again asked to head to the legendary version of Operation Seraph Shield for the third catalyst and the third Hunter's Trace, which I believe is going to be stocks. I think that's the last one. I'm pretty sure. And then there's one more catalyst after this. Something kind of interesting in the text of the mission for the catalyst, where it talks about how the Hake Corporation had a big investment in the golden era concept of, I think it's called xenoarchaeology, where it's this idea that Earth was visited by aliens in millennia past or something and left technology behind to be used. And like that really caught me off guard, because I was like, wait, what? what are we talking about here? I follow a good amount of Destiny lore, but this is kind of the first time I've heard anything about that, and about the idea that in the Destiny universe, Earth has been visited by some other alien race in the past. I could be missing something blatantly obvious here, but like, clearly the Traveler came, the Traveler landed, that was an alien visiting, and the Traveler's still here, but like, what is this driving at exactly? I'm very curious about this, because I'm wondering if this is something basic like, oh, the Vex are time travelers, and the Vex were here on Earth like millennia ago before we had the Traveler or anything, because like they do time stuff all the time and can kind of go anywhere. Clearly wasn't the Fallen that came here, wasn't the Cabal that was here before, because those were kind of the Fallen were sort of fleeing their ruined homeworld. The Cabal are expanding to go to war. The Hive, I don't really remember the whole Hive thing. I think the Hive were coming to get the Traveler also. That's why they were here. So like, what is this driving at? What tech is this they're talking about? I wonder if this could have something directly to do with Lightfall and the Neomuna. There's like some sort of tech that's in Quicksilver Storm and has to do with these fish ghosts that it's some sort of like nanomachine. It's like Siva but not evil. I don't know if it even has a name yet, but it's mentioned a few times in the lore as like some sort of Neptune specific tech. So I do wonder if this is hinting at Neomuna as a civilization being built on the xenoarchaeology, being built on they have these like this crazy city and these crazy technological advances and the power of the Cloud Striders, like if that is derived from xenoarchaeology. So that's probably a whole separate video. I could probably rant about whatever this throwaway line is in the dialogue, but that really caught me off guard. So anyway, I think this is a really interesting story week. From a gameplay perspective, there's not really a ton to do different than the past few weeks, but I did enjoy the storytelling. I really like the kind of concept of turning the fight with Xivu Arath on its head, and it's not just going to be like, get the Warsat, blow up the army, the end. Like, it's going to be something a little different than that to a certain extent, and then I'm curious about this new Hake information. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.